Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Daily Market Report brought to you by Mike Bjork. Today is Thursday, and it's March 12th. Wow, just another crazy day in the markets. It's been pretty interesting to see, and we haven't really seen anything like this since the credit crisis back around '08. So let's jump right into it. We do got a couple items here on the economic calendar. Like every Thursday, we do get the initial jobless claims. Last week's numbers for the previous week, we had 215,000 people apply for unemployment. Forecast con for this week was con for 220, an increase. However, it lowered instead, it down to 211,000. So currently, we're still seeing a pretty strong jobs report. We're getting in the initial stages of the uh, coronavirus here in the U.S. So it will be interesting to see if and when this ticks upwards, if we might see this coming upwards, especially if it's prolonged and as it's already impacting the economy in some pretty negative ways here. So at some point, businesses may let people go, and we may see an uptick in this. So we'll kind of keep our eyes on this as we get further into this whole economic downturn that we're seeing here. To move on here, we got the producer price index. This is inflation data on the wholesale level. It doesn't get as much respect as the CPI or the PCE, primarily because it's on the wholesale side, and it doesn't always, even though prices may rise, inflation may rise on the wholesale, it doesn't always get passed on to the consumers. So we look more based at what's affecting the consumer versus the wholesale side of things. However, it is still important report to watch because it could further see where we could see on the consumer side. At some point, they will obviously pass on expenses to the consumer side. Anyways, proceed here. In January, we had a month over month, a pretty sharp increase at 0.5%. Forecasts are calling for just a dip of about 0.1%, and it dipped actually 0.6%. Now, when you take now it's year over year, actually had a pretty big drop at 2.1% year over year, all the way down to 1.3%. Now, when you take out the food and energy, which are two variables that we cannot control, we get what they call the core PPI, and this has a little bit more weight because this is something that's controllable, and this is what we investors as well as the Fed will be looking at. So, like its predecessor, it also went up 0.5% in the month of January. Forecast got for a slight increase to 0.1%. However, it decreased by 0.3% for month over month. And its year over year dropped from 1.7% down to 1.4%. So it doesn't have as much of a dramatic drop as uh, the headline number, but it did have a bit of a drop as well. So let's proceed. Stocks are down. Matter of fact, it hit the buzzer again today. It was hit like around 2,000 down and hit the 15-minute buzzer. So they actually had a halt trading for about 15 minutes. Dow is now actually in bear territory, ending its 11-year bull run. S&P and Nasdaq are entering that. If they continue and close in that fashion, they probably after trade today, they could be in that same territory as well. So right now we are entering into a bear territory in the stocks. Updates on the coronavirus basically state that it was announced that travel from Europe will be basically canceled. We got famous people coming out with coronavirus infections. To we got uh, stimulus package hopefully coming out. We're still waiting to hear a little bit more on that, but again, we're getting a lot of different news coming from around, and you got the like NBA suspending basic canceling the season until further notice. We got a lot of situations where it's affecting the pro sports. From I think a lot of these NCAA college sports, they're basically doing their events, but with no audience, and we're probably looks like we may be even seeing the same thing with baseball and maybe in hockey. So we're seeing a lot of different events basically being played with no audience, which is kind of, I believe, unprecedented. I've never seen something like this occur. So this is going to be really unusual um, going forward, how this is going to play out. So let's proceed to see how the bond market is. The bond market is actually started the morning up higher. We started up a few basis points higher, and then since we just kind of started taking lower, we're now testing the 25-day moving average. I do think. we are about the lower trend line, and I think we will see at some point kind of upward bounce. But again, we'll be testing it in these. Uh, don't always go in a straight path, so we could have go up and come back down, go up, back down, and then we also got the other side of things where the uh, lenders are due to the high volumes that are artificially keeping rates higher to slow things down because they just don't have the capacity right now to meet the demand of people wanting to refinance. So we got that situation kind of going on at this time as well. Um, so currently, mortgage rates are worse than what we saw yesterday. Yields are also down quite a bit, as you can see here. We're down to about 1.6. I'm sorry, down to about 0.67 range. It was down a little bit further. It's kind of pulled up slightly, but we're right around 0.67% right now. Uh, so again, extremely low levels. I do think we will come at some point test this level again on the yields and going forward. So unusual times. What can I say? I think we haven't really seen something like this, at least in my lifetime, and perhaps you guys could probably say the same thing. Anyways, if you guys are in California looking to buy a refinance, again, please reach out. We are still doing loans. You can direct message me or email me. I do get faster response on email. We do have a few investors that are still giving pretty good pricing, and we still are able to use those as well. Use those investors with our files. So if you're in one of these situations where you're getting quoted high prices, want some help, reach out and we can see what we can do, what kind of pricing we get with our other sources. All right, you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll look forward to see you guys tomorrow in tomorrow's video. Bye bye.